it becomes very complicated and it doesn't even look good, right? So to avoid this confusion, to avoid this problem, what we'll do is instead of putting the dimensions, we will just use ordinate method. So what ordinate does is it will show us the distance from y-axis, and distance from x-axis. Okay, distance from x-axis. Now it's looking much simple, right? Which one was simple? The dimensioning method was simple, or this abscissa ordinate method is simple? Isn't this simpler? Of course, I'll just change this to become lighter. Fine. Is this clear, ma? So distance from
Yes, sir.
x-axis, that is y coordinate, and distance from y-axis, that is x coordinate. So these will be given here. So by using the both the coordinates, the center point will get defined, and this information, this kind of dimensioning will help us in manufacturing. So all you have to do in CNC machine, if you are making a CNC program, is to give this center point x coordinate and y coordinate. If you feed in the program CNC part program, the machine will automatically identify that from the origin point, and it will drill a hole at that point. Okay, so this is what is ordinate. This is what is ordinate. Not okay. So let me show this. Okay, I'll just take a pic of this and place there. Right. Pic. Okay. So I'll paste it here. Fine. So this is what is the abscissa and ordinate. So this is what this is all about. Okay. Then coming to these things. Okay. So these are self-explanatory. You must be understanding. Radius means radius of an arc. Fine. Radius works on the arcs mostly. Radius is shown only for arcs. For circles, generally we show, what do we show for circles? Oh, sorry, diameter. For circle, we usually show the diameter. Fine. So this is the usual convention which we follow in the technical drawings. So if it is not a complete circle, we will generally give radius. If it is a complete circle, mostly we will show the diameter. This is a part of convention, and that's how you should do it. Now, what is a jogged dimension? What is a jogged dimension? Anyone? Jogged dimension. What is a jogged dimension? Let me show here. Now, sometimes what happens, the arc will be very, very big. Okay. So this arc is having very big radius. Now, if I show radius for this, what happens? It draws this line. If I show the radius, it will draw this line, and that line will intersect with other diagrams and it will disturb the other diagrams, right? So in such cases, instead of showing the radius, we will show jogged dimension. Fine. Jogged dimension. So what happened here? We are able to get the radius. We're able to get the radius value. At the same time, the dimension is not interfering with any other diagram. Fine. So this is where jogged dimension will be used. Let me keep a snapshot of this in the paint file. So this is the jogged dimensioning. Fine. So where do we use this? For very large arcs. If the arcs are very, very large, that's where we will use the jogged dimensioning. And finally, angular dimension, it's very simple. The name itself is indicating what is an angular dimension. It gives us the angle between any two lines. It gives us angle between any two lines, correct? So this is the angular dimension. Right? Let me keep a pic of this again in the paint file. So this paint file I'll share with you, so that any point of time you want to refer to the notes, you can just refer to it. Okay. So this here is angular dimension. Okay, so this is the angular dimension. It always gives the angle between any two lines that we are selecting. So all these are covered. Then coming to baseline and continue. These are special dimensions which are once again helpful in situations like this. So I already showed you how this will be useful. But for using ordinates and all, the diagram, one of the corner points has to be at the origin. Only then we can use ordinate method. Okay. Suppose the diagram is not at the origin, it is randomly placed at some other point. And now we have to show the distance from this origin. Then this is where the other method will be useful. Fine. So let me show you how. Just make this. Okay. And now I will choose baseline. So what happened? All the distances are being measured from the starting line. Can you see this? All the dimensions you can see, this dimension is measured from the start. So is this from start. This is also measured from the start. You can see this is also measured from the start. So this way, all the distances will be measured from a single starting point. From a single starting point. This is what is called as baseline dimensioning. Baseline dimensioning. So now there is another type of dimensioning called continue. So what the continue does is you have to select some point, and now what's happening? What's happening now? What is the difference between these two? This bottom one is the baseline dimensioning, whereas the top one is continue dimensioning. So continue, what it does is it will continue from the previous point. From the previous point. Fine. So this was starting from here up to this center. Now the next dimension is starting at the center to the next point. The next dimension is starting from that point, previous point, going to next. So this is called continuous dimension, and this here is called baseline dimensioning. Okay, let me just change the color slightly so that I'll be able to show it to you later. Okay, color green. Let me just keep it white. Okay, and snip. Any doubt here? So what you are learning here now, it was not there in the old syllabus. This was not there in the old syllabus, and it's difficult to predict what kind of questions will be asked based on this. So I'm just trying to explain to you everything that could be possible. Okay. So this is called baseline dimensioning. This upper one is called continue, continuous or continue dimensioning. So these two methods are used when multiple dimensions continuously are to be used. Okay. So baseline measures from the same point and continue measures from the previous point continuously. So these two are over. Then coming to leader. What is a leader? What is a leader? Anyone? Suppose you want to give the details about something like well, details of something, let us say surface finish or something, then you can use a leader. So let me choose leader first. Then I'll have to draw this line here. Press enter, enter. Okay. So you can put up text like this. Fine. So you can see this is having an arrow here. An arrow is pointed here, and it is giving some text. Fine. So this is how the leader dimension will work. Leader dimension will work. So leader dimension is used whenever you have to provide a text. Whenever you have to provide a text to explain some things. This is what is a leader. Okay, this is what is the leader. What do we have next? After leader, we have something called tolerance. So tolerance, you will have to study metrology in detail to understand what all you have to do. So there will be a number of symbols. This is for center, finding the center. This is for concentricity. Then this one is for parallel, no, not for parallel. This is for symmetry. This is for symmetry of line. Then this is for parallel. This one is for perpendicular and all these things. So all these are the symbols. So you should know all these geometric tolerances. All these geometric tolerances should be known to you. Okay. Let me briefly explain what these are one by one. So this one is center. Fine. How accurate should be the center? That's what is defined by that point. So this one is concentric. Fine. So if you are making two holes, there are chances that the two circles will not be sharing same center. Fine. Depending upon how careful we are, the center point will be very accurate, very precise. Or if we are not careful, then the center points of the two circles will be far away. So this concentric value gives us how much we can tolerate, how much of error we can tolerate between those two. This one here is symmetry. Then this here is parallel. This one we all know it is perpendicular. Okay, let me take this side. Okay, so what is this? This is plane. Fine. How plane the surface should be. Fine. So no matter how careful we are, the planes will usually have the upper and lower limits. Okay. So the uppermost and the lowermost limit within which the plane or the surface has to be present. So this tolerance is called as the planar tolerance, and it is denoted by this symbol. And this is circularity. So once again, a circle cannot always be perfect circle. A circle cannot always be perfect circle. Let me show you. Suppose this is the circle you want. But what happens? There will be some error. There will be some error. Fine. And the circle that we actually get may go above or below like this. Fine. So the distance between the maximum radius and the minimum radius. Fine. So this is the actual circle obtained. There will be some manufacturing defects, right? So because of the defects, this is what is the circle obtained. Whereas the green circle is the circle expected. This is the circle that we are expecting. So the difference between the expected circle and the actual circle, that is given by the circularity tolerance. Then here, this is called what is that? Obliquity. Fine. So as the diagram itself is showing, uh, uh, how oblique the surface has to be. That's what is defined. Suppose you are having a simple block. Fine. So this angle has to be 90 degrees. But because of the manufacturing error or something, the surface will actually be cross. Fine. So let us say here. So the surface actual will be in the green. Actual one I'm expected one I'm showing in green, and in orange we're getting actual. So this is what actual that is obtained, and this is what is expected. So the difference between these two, that is the tolerance that is defined by this one, obliquity. Then here we have okay, the circularity is over. This one is diameter. This one is diameter, and here this one is angular. Okay, so all these are the different tolerances. Now coming here, once again, this is arc. This is, I'm not sure about these diagrams. We'll have to check it. Okay, so we'll come back to this later, right? So this is for arc roundness, you can say, and this is closed one. I don't know why. Okay, we'll come back to that and see. So these things we never almost never use these, and hence I'm not sure what they are. So all these tolerancing values you can use in the dimensions. Okay. Then center mark will just create a center mark. Fine. This is not actually a geometry. It will create two lines which are like plus, and they denote the center point of an arc or a circle. Then oblique and all these, I don't think they're required here. So I hope you have understood whatever I explained here. All these options from the dimensioning you should be clear about. So this last part mostly it's not required, so I'll just remove it from here. Okay, so these are the options you should be knowing about perfectly. Any doubts here? Any doubts about what we discussed till now? Is this clear?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Okay, so we are done with fillets, we are done with chamfer, we are done with hatching, dimensioning. Next is editing. Editing. Now, editing is a very common term. A lot of edit commands are available, and I'm not sure which edit it is talking about. Okay, edit. Edit. So, lot of edit commands are available. Like, fine, dimension editing is available. We can edit the dimensions. We can edit block. Block edit command is available. Hatch edit command is available. Hatch edit command is available. Uh, Text edit command is available. All these are editing commands. Fine. I don't know what he meant when he said editing command. Fine. So actually, there should be a committee which finds out if there is any ambiguity in the syllabus, the way syllabus is planned, and it should be pointed out. Uh, such such terms make it very difficult for us to teach the subject and what is expected. It's very, we're not sure what to expect in the class. So I'll just try to explain whatever edit commands are available, and hope you will all be perfect with this. If you go back and try with AutoCAD, all these commands that I'm talking about, it will help you understand the topic. Fine, because once you understand, you don't have to come back and study it again. If you're just trying to by heart or remember, then again and again you may have to go back to the open the book and go back to it. If you want to avoid opening the books, I suggest that you go home, install AutoCAD on your system or laptop, and try using all these commands. And while using the commands, if you are coming across any doubts, I'm of course here anytime to help you out. Okay, let's go ahead and see what are these commands one by one. So block edit. Okay, ready? So first thing I've talked about the dimension, right? So if you want to edit the dimensions, all you can do is just the select the dimension and drag it. Fine. As I'm dragging the dimension, you can see the dimension is getting edited. Or if you want to change the text of the dimension, if you want to change the text of the dimension, you can use the command ed. Fine. So ed, enter, click. So now you can see I can change the value to anything I want. Length has not changed. Length has not changed. Just the value which I'm showing, that has changed. Okay. So the length continues to remain the same as before. Fine. The length continues to remain same as before. I have just changed the value that the dimension is showing. Fine. So this is one of the editing commands we can say in the dimension. So if you want to edit the dimension text, you have to give ed enter, select the dimension, then you can change it to whatever you want. Next thing is block. Now first of all you should understand what is block, and only then you will get to understand how to edit the block. Okay, so let me take a simple what to say, okay, let me take a door. Even though as mechanical engineers we don't usually do the doors, windows and other stuff, but for explaining the meaning of this particular thing, I, I think this is the best option. Yeah. So I've taken a simple door, and this arc shows the path taken by the door to get opened. Fine. So this is how in the drawings, in the civil engineering drawings, the doors will be shown. So now these doors will be appearing at a lot of places, right? The doors will be appearing at a lot of places. Fine. Let me say I have placed the doors at 6 different places, and later on I was told to modify this. Fine. Later on I was told to modify this. Suppose instead of having this solid arc, I was told by later by my boss to make it dashed. Then what I have to do? I have to first load the dashed lines, right? Okay, let me take 0.5x dashed, and then I have to change it to dashed. Now this dashed I have to change at all the places, right? So right now there are only 6 places. So maybe I can do it. Suppose there are 100 to 200 different places, then this change has to reflect at all these places, right? So this becomes very, very difficult. This becomes really very difficult, and very much painful to do it like that. So what we do is, that's the reason the block command was introduced. So you have to first create the block. For creating the block, the command is b enter, and let me just say this is a door. I'll have to select the objects. I'll have to select a base point. Now base point is defined. These are the coordinates of base point, and the object has been selected. You can see the object preview over here. This is the name of the block. Fine. So if I click OK, now you can see it has become a block. Did anyone start the recording? Okay, very good. Recording has been started. Fine. So now you can see it has become a block. Now the difference between a simple object and block. What is the difference between a simple object and block? This is a simple object, and you can see each object I can separately select. Whereas a block, it moves as a single entity. It moves as a single entity. Okay. So now let me say I'm copying this. I'm copying it at hundreds of different places. And now my boss is suddenly coming and telling me, Arey, why did you keep this solid? Change it to dashed. Fine. So now I've already copied to 100 places. And what I have to do is I just use block edit command, BE. BE enter. When I do, the list of all the blocks will appear here. All the blocks will appear here. So I will just choose the block definition door. I'll go inside the door, and I will change this. Yeah, I'll change this to dashed. Fine. Now it has been changed to dash. I will just close the block, and if it is asking to save, I'll say yes, I want to save it. What happened? All the 100 places wherever I had placed the door, they have been changed to this dashed object. Fine. So this is what is the block edit. Block edit shortcut is BE, block edit. Okay. Now coming to hatch edit. Hatch edit. Fine. So we have done the hatch here. We have done the hatch here. Now later on, suppose the boss again comes and says, why are you using this? The length is too much. Its length is too large. Reduce the length or increase the length. Fine. Then what I have to do? I just have to select this. HE enter. HE enter. So that will take me to the same hatch command. I'm editing this hatch, so I can increase or decrease the scale. I can increase or decrease the scale. Fine. Suppose I want this, instead of on the right side, I want the obliquity on the left side. Fine. Again, I can just select it, HE enter, and angle I have to make it 90 degrees. Now you can see the hatch direction has changed to the left side. Initially, right, it was on right side. Now because I have given 90-degree rotation, it's on left side. Now how to make it vertical? How to make it vertical? What should be the angle to make it vertical? 45 degrees. Fine. 45 degrees if you enter, the hatch lines have become vertical. If you want to make it horizontal, I have to give minus 45 degrees. Minus 45 degrees. Now you can see the hatch is horizontal. So like this, a number of times you can go on editing the hatch. So if you want to edit the hatch, the command is H E hatch edit enter. Hatch edit enter. Now here for the text edit also we can use the same command, that is ed enter. Ed enter. Fine. So we can just double click the text and edit it. Fine. Or we can just give ed for text edit. Ed is for text edit. Okay. So ed command can be used for editing text of the dimensions, or simple single line text, or multi-line text. Wherever text is there, if you want to edit, just press ed enter and select the text. Okay. So these are all the editing options. These are all the editing options. Okay. There may be other editing options also. If I come across them later on, we'll see. We'll talk about it later. Okay. The next command is windowing. What is windowing? What is windowing? Fine. Suppose this is the diagram which is visible, and suppose I want to zoom in on this. Then I just have to press Z enter, and I have to draw a window. So when I draw that window, what will happen? The diagram will slowly zoom in to show that particular part. The diagram will slowly zoom in to show that particular part. Fine. So here a little more explanation is needed. Okay, let me just reduce this size. Okay, and let me just draw this. So when I'm drawing this line when I'm saving it into a file, when I save it into a file, and let us say CAD class. So I'm just giving a name to the file. So when I'm saving this file, what will happen is it will not save this as a graphic data. It will not save it as a graphic data. It will save it in the vector form. It will save it in the vector form. So how it will be saved in the vector form? All these coordinates will be saved, and the detail about which coordinates are joined with the line, okay, that will be saved. So when it is reading back the file, it will read the coordinates and which coordinates are joined, and automatically it will regenerate the diagram and show it on the screen. Now these coordinates are defining my line. Now suppose I'm zooming into small part. I'm zooming into the small part. Now you can see that the coordinates are actually outside my window, which is visible. The coordinates are outside the window, which is visible to me. Now how will it draw this line? This line has to be drawn from this point on my screen to this point. Now these points, they need to be calculated. These points need to be calculated. Fine. And after calculating these points, those 2 points are used to draw this line on the screen. Fine. This is only visible part of the line. Actual line is this total line. Actual line is this total line. But when I'm zooming in, only a part of the line will be visible. And windowing is a method that allows us to determine the points where it is going out of the screen, determine the coordinates where it is going out of the screen, and using those coordinates to generate the line, generate the visible part of the line, generate the visible part of the line. Okay. So let me take this. And let me explain this again. I'll take a rectangle. Okay. Thin rectangle. Too thin. Right. Rectangle. Let me change this. Okay, not possible. Anyway, so when I choose this, what will happen? So these coordinates we'll have to calculate. Let me take a different color. Okay. Mm. So this point, fine. So these are the coordinates to be found. Okay. So this thing is called a window. This thing is called as a window, and only the parts which are inside the window should be visible. So from this point to this point, this is the visible part of line. Visible part of line. This is the visible part of line, and this part is going outside. This part is going outside. Let me shoot this side. Fine. Outside the screen. Outside screen. Fine. So the windowing method will determine this point, this point, this point, and this point. Fine. So 4 points, 4 coordinates it will calculate, and using those coordinates the visible part of line will be generated. Using those lines the visible part of line will be generated. The same goes for any object. Fine. Even sometimes, we will be drawing a circle. We'll be drawing a circle. Let me draw a circle big enough. Okay. And then when we zoom in, only part of the circle will be visible. So it has to only draw this part on the screen. It doesn't have to draw the part which is not visible on the screen. Fine. If it keeps drawing the parts which are not visible on the screen, then a lot of memory will be used, and there may be some lag. There may be some lag when you are using the software. Fine. So that is the reason, uh, to make it more efficient and faster, only the parts which are visible on the screen, only they will be drawn. Only though they will be drawn. Fine. And the windowing method helps us to do that. Fine. Windowing method helps us to do that. Fine. Is this clear? Windowing method. Then lastly, the zoom. Zoom, I guess everyone knows it. It's very simple to do nowadays. But in the old days, when the mouse was not having 3 buttons, it just used to have only 2 buttons. Fine. So at that time, giving the zoom command itself was very difficult, and we had to carefully give it. So now what we can do is just roll this scroller, the third button, and it will zoom in or zoom out. Fine. But if you go inside the zoom command, you can see that there are a lot of options in the zoom command. Are these visible? You can see there is a all, center, dynamic, extends, previous, scale, window, object. All these are options present in the zoom command. Fine. So now let us see the difference between all these commands. Okay. So suppose my object is visible like this, and I just want to fit all the objects that I have drawn on the screen. So then what I have to do? Zoom all. Z enter, A enter will zoom such that all the objects that I have drawn will be visible on the screen. Next option is zoom center. If I choose the center option, then what I can do is I can choose a center point. And after choosing a center point, he is asking the magnification height. Fine. So I can just give some height, let us say 500. And what will happen? The point which I chose by clicking, that point will come into the center and it will go to the required height. So that is one method. Then if I choose dynamic zooming, fine. The dynamic zooming will create a rectangle like this. So by left clicking, I can adjust the size of this rectangle. Now I'm doing left click. So when I do left click, I can change the size of this window. And when I do right click, enter, it will zoom to show that part. Okay. So that is what is dynamic, this thing. Then coming to extents and all, they are almost the same. There is a very small difference. Extents will take into account the limits of the drawing. Fine. But in the modern CAD, of course, extents or limits are of no use. Fine. They have become obsolete. Nobody is actually still using the limits command, and hence all and extents, both commands almost same. They are almost the same. Then coming to previous, what will happen is Z enter, P enter if you do. it will go to the previous view. It will go to the previous view. Z enter, P enter. It will go to the previous view. Z enter, P enter. It will go to the previous view. Z enter, P enter. It will go to the previous view. So wherever we are moving to that view, it will go one by one. Fine. So let me go in forward direction now. So first I will go here. Okay. Then I will go here. Okay. Then let me say I'm going here. So now I have moved to 3 different scenes one by one. So now let me go Z enter, P enter. It will go to the previous view. Again Z enter, P enter. The view which I selected before that. Again Z enter, P enter. The view which I selected before that. Z enter, P enter. Again I had zoomed out. Z enter, P enter. This side. Z enter, P enter. Okay. So this way the previous views we can shift to using zoom command. So previous is over. Then scale. Scale gives us again it's almost similar as the center point. In the center point, I had to choose the center and choose the scale. Whereas choosing the scale option directly will allow me to choose the scale factor. Fine. So if I put 1, it will show the true dimensions. Fine. So true dimensions, that is 1:1 dimensions. That's how it will show. But from monitor to monitor, it will again vary. Okay, from monitor to monitor, it will again vary. So if you are trying to measure this length by taking a scale on your monitor, then it may not actually work out that way. But this command will be especially useful in layout space. In the layout space, fine. So in the layout space, if I give Z enter, 1xp enter, now it is showing me the 1:1 size. 1:1 size. Let me choose. Okay, let us take here. Z enter, 1xp enter. Fine. So now the scale is chosen as 1:1. Now if you take a printout of this and measure the diameter, it will be exactly same as the actual diameter. Fine. Let us see what is the actual diameter. Actual diameter is 55.49. 55.49. So when you take the printout, and on the printout, on the printed diagram, if you measure the diameter, that will also measure 55.49. Okay. So this is what is the use of the scale option in the zoom command. Scale option in the zoom command. Fine. So you must have used this command when you were setting up your diagram on the Google on the sheet, right? When you did MDM lab, you must have used this command, if I'm not wrong. Okay. So what's actually the time is up now. What's the next class? What is the next class?
POM, sir.
Okay, so you can go, you can leave. I'll just stop sharing. I'll download attendance for you all. It's being recorded anyway. I'm stopping the recording.